All right, so here on this assignment, I would like you to use Sakila database. And below the video, provided a link to the SQL file that you can download. Once you download the SQL file, you can open it using any text editor of your choice, Sublime or VS Code. And if you open that up, you will just see that it's just a bunch of text. And there are some comments, and so it just comes with some of these SQL statements. For now, you haven't learned how to do some of these other advanced SQL statements, so you don't need to worry. But just take maybe 1 minute, and you can kind of find out how the SQL file is. SQL file is just a bunch of SQL queries all pasted into a single file that you can use. So what you can do, if you haven't already done so, you need to create a MySQL connection, right? So if you already installed MySQL, you would have to probably click on the plus icon and then specify the host name. If it is in your local computer, 127.0.0.1 or localhost, port 3306, if that's where you installed it. And then put in your username, put in the password. Now, depending on the MySQL version that you have, you may need to do something a little bit more creative. So anyway, we hope that you can figure out how to get it connected. And then once you do test connection, you can save the password too. And if it worked, then it will say successfully made the MySQL connection. Okay. All right. So you should have done that. And if you did, then you will see this connection. Once you connect to your database or that connection, you can see different schemas. And you'll probably not see what I see because I created these. Okay, but for the Sakila one, right, you're not going to see this one. So let me actually go ahead and drop the schema for now. We'll just drop now. So you won't see Sakila, but you can have this, you can run the SQL file. So one way you can just do is just copy and paste this directly. And hold on, let's just make sure in the query statement. So you copy it and then you can basically just run it. And if you run this, you will see that it's just running. It's running one query after another. And once it is done, you could reload this and you will see that now Sakila database schema shows up and it has bunch of tables: actor, actress, address, category, city, country, and stuff like that. So now if you want to look at, for example, the customer table, I can right click and do select rows, right? Right click, select rows, limit 1000, and I can just do in queries here. Now if you wanna, you could specify the schema name followed by dot and then the table name. Or if you want to just tell, hey, SQL, I just want you to use the Sakila schema, you can just say use Sakila, and then you don't need this. You can just say select star from customer. And if you run this, you can see that it works. Once you use the use followed by the name of the database schema, you don't have to use it. Again, you can just, because I ran it once already, I can just do this and it would work. If I want to get select start from film, I can do this, and notice how it just returns all of the records in that database table. Okay, all right, so some additional things that you can look into is you can look into the columns for each of the database table, and you can see what is stored there, the data type. So you can see that for this example, this one is varchar 45. For the last name, varchar 45. Email, varchar 50. Customer ID, small int. So anyway, you can also see the data type that way. So this GUI just provides a lot of very neat interface you can use. But go ahead and use MySQL Workbench to practice how to write some of these SQL statements and see if you can get familiar with how it works. Now, one more word before I go is, yes, I copied and pasted this, but sometimes SQL file is really big. Megabytes, hundreds of megabytes, maybe even gigabytes. And you don't want to copy and paste because that would just be too time consuming. So what you may want to do is there are interfaces that you can use here where you can import a SQL file. So I think there is a migration, and you can follow through some of these instructions, and it will help you migrate some of the SQL file. You can also Google it, and there are ways to do it directly in the terminal, where you type a few things and it will migrate automatically. So again, multiple ways to do things. For me, if the SQL file is small, hey, just go in and copy and paste it. If the SQL file is quite large, then yeah, you can just use a migration tool like this. You could also do things in the terminal, because later if you deploy things in the cloud, you're not gonna be able to use interface like this to migrate and update your database in your remote computer. So, but anyway, for now, you can just copy and paste the SQL file or run the migration wizard through this tool. Okay, all right, good luck.